In this lesson, you'll learn two ways to play Landslide. The first way, which is my favorite, is to use a beautiful fingerpicking pattern throughout the song. The second way, which is the easier version, is to strum the song. After we look at how to fingerpick and strum the song, then we'll take a close look at the beautiful fingerstyle solo that comes after the first chorus. And finally, at the end of this tutorial, you can join me for a play-along where I'll play and sing through the entire song, alternating between fingerpicking and strumming. Throughout this lesson, I'll be playing a tenor with low G tuning. If you have a high G on your instrument, you can follow this entire lesson. The strumming patterns will sound very similar on your instrument and on mine, but the fingerpicking pattern and the fingerstyle solo will sound a bit different because your fourth string is one octave higher than mine. Now let's start by taking a look at how to play the chords. Our first chord is F. Here I'm playing the first fret of the second string with my index finger and the second fret of the fourth string with my middle finger. Then we have C, which is the third fret of the first string. You can play C either with your ring finger or with your pinky. You may find it easier to play C with your pinky when you're moving into D minor, which is our next chord. For D minor, I have my index finger on the first fret of the second string and my middle and ring fingers on the second fret of strings 3 and 4. Next we have G7. Here once again I have my index finger on the first fret of the second string and also my middle and ring fingers on the second fret of strings 3 and 1. We move from G7 to our next chord, which is A minor, simply by moving our middle finger up one string to the second fret of the fourth string. Now after A minor, in this song we move to F, so we're going to keep our middle finger in place and also place down our index finger on the second string to form our F chord. So here's the easiest way to transition from G7 to A minor to F. Now that we've covered the chords, let's take a look at our fingerpicking pattern and how to apply it to the song. Here's our fingerpicking pattern played slowly on an F chord. I'm starting by picking string 4 with my thumb, then string 2 with my middle finger, string 3 with my index finger, down to string 1 with my ring finger, and then finishing on strings 2 and 3. This pattern covers 4 beats, and the rhythm is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now let's apply this pattern to our song. Starting with our introduction, we're going to play our pattern once on each chord. So once on F, once on C, once on D minor, and then once again on C. And now adding in the count to our introduction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first and second verses are played the exact same way. Each line uses the same chord progression that we used in our introduction. So we'll play our fingerpicking pattern one time on each chord. And each line will start on F, then go to C, then to D minor, and then back to C. Just like we played in our introduction. After the first 2 verses, we have our pre-chorus. We're going to continue with the same chord progression twice until we get to the very last chord. So instead of ending on a C chord, we're going to end this progression on a G7 chord. This sets us up to move into the chorus with a different chord sequence. In the chorus, we're going to play our pattern once on each chord except for A minor. Both times we get to A minor, we're going to play our pattern twice, as this chord is held for 8 beats. So starting on line 1 of our chorus, we'll play our pattern once on C, once on G7, and then twice on A minor. In line 2, we'll play our pattern once on F, once on C, once on D minor, and then once on G7. Lines 3 and 4 of the chorus are played the same way as lines 1 and 2 until we get to the last chord. At the end of line 2 we played a G7, but at the end of line 4 we're going to play a C chord. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, then welcome. I'm Lara. I'm a musician, a composer, and a ukulele teacher, and I hope you have fun exploring my channel, my song tutorials, and my arrangements. If you'd like to download the song sheet for Landslide, including the lyrics, chords, patterns, and tabs for the solo, you can do so from my Patreon page, along with my songbook covering all of the songs that I've shared in my tutorials. You'll find the link down below in the video description. The second chorus is one line longer than the first. As we move into verse 3, the first 4 lines are played the same way as our first 2 verses, and then we have a few extra lines at the end of this verse to end the song. In the middle of line 5, we're going to start slowing down the tempo. Here's how line 5 sounds. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, maybe. So to play line 5, we'll play our pattern once on F, then once on C. When we get to D minor over the word snow, here we're slowing down the tempo. We're going to play one arpeggio or broken chord on D minor. Then over the word covered, we're going to pick the first 4 notes of our pattern. So we're picking strings 4, 2, 3, and 1. Then over the word hills, we're moving to our C chord. Here we're going to play another arpeggio. And then over the word maybe, we're going to pick the first 4 notes of our pattern once again. For lines 6 and 7, we'll resume our tempo and play our pattern once on each chord until we get to our final D minor chord over the word down. Here I like to end the song by playing only the first 4 notes of the pattern. This is a beautiful way to end the song. Next we'll look at an easier way to play through the song using strumming patterns. So let's start by taking a look at our patterns and then how to apply them to the verses and the chorus. Our first strumming pattern consists of 2 down strums, and the rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Our second strumming pattern also consists of 4 beats, and this one is made up of 4 down strums instead of 2. The rhythm here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm playing the down strum on beat 1 a bit louder than beats 2, 3, and 4. So let's apply our first strumming pattern to the chord sequence that appears in the introduction and throughout the verses. Here we're going to start on F with 2 down strums, then go to C, then to D minor, and then back to C. Adding in the count to this sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's apply our second pattern to this same chord sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. As we apply these 2 strumming patterns to our song, we're going to play either of the patterns 1 time on each chord, except for the A minor chords that appear in the chorus. Here we'll play either of our strumming patterns twice on A minor, because these chords are held for 8 beats. So starting on line 1 of our chorus, we'll start on C, then go to G7, then to A minor. So the count here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. As we move into verse 3, the first 4 lines are played the same way as our first 2 verses, and then we have a few extra lines at the end of this verse to end the song. In the middle of line 5, we're going to start slowing down the tempo. Here's how line 5 sounds. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, maybe. So I'm starting line 5 by playing our first strumming pattern once on F, then once on C, and when we get to our D minor chord over the word snow, we're going to start slowing down the tempo. Here we'll play 1 arpeggio or broken chord through all 4 strings, and then over the word covered, we're going to play another arpeggio on D minor. We'll do the same when we get to our C chord over the word hills, and then 1 final arpeggio over the word maybe. For lines 6 and 7, we'll resume our tempo, playing either of our strumming patterns 1 time on each chord. When we get to our final D minor chord over the word down, instead of playing a pattern, here we can play an arpeggio. This is a beautiful way to end the song. So here's an example of how you can strum the final 2 lines with the lyrics. The landslide will bring it down. Whoa, whoa, the landslide will bring it down. Next, we'll take a look at the beautiful fingerstyle solo that comes after the first chorus. Here's our first measure, played at a slow tempo. I'm starting on an F chord, picking strings 2, 3, and 4 together. Then I'm picking string 4, 3, and when I pick the second string, I'm going to hammer onto the 3rd fret using my pinky. Then I'll pick the open first string, and then I'm placing my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the first string. Here I'll pick strings 1 and 2 together, then I'll pick string 3, 2, 1, and back to 3. Here's our second measure at a slow tempo. We're We're starting this measure on the 3rd fret of the first 2 strings. I'm using my index and middle fingers. We're going to pick these 2 strings together and hammer onto the 5th fret of the first string. Then we'll pick the open 3rd string, and lifting up our pinky, we'll play strings 1 and 2 together again. Then we're going down to strings 2 and 3. We're going to pick these strings together and hammer onto the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Then we'll go down to the 4th string. Then we're going to pick the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So we're lifting up our ring finger, and then we're finishing this measure on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. When you play these hammer-ons on the 1st and 2nd strings, you can use either your ring finger or your pinky, whichever is more comfortable. You can also pick each note as an easier alternative to the hammer-ons. Next, I'll play measures 3 and 4 at a slow tempo. At the beginning of measure 3, we have a D minor chord, picking strings 2, 3, and 4. Then we'll pick the 4th string, 3rd string, and next when we pick the 2nd string, we're going to hammer onto the 3rd fret once again. Next we have an F chord, and we'll pick strings 2, 3, and 4. Then we'll pick the 2nd fret of the 4th string and hammer onto the 3rd fret. Then we have our open 3rd string. This carries over into the beginning of measure 4. Now we're starting with all open strings in this measure. So we'll pick strings 3 and 4, then 4, 3, and when we get to the 2nd string, we're going to play the 3rd fret. Then we go back to the 4th string, 3rd string, open 2nd string, and we finish measure 4 on an open 3rd string. Measures 5 and 6 are played the same way as measures 1 and 2. Here's how measure 7 sounds at a slow tempo. Here we're starting on a D minor chord, picking strings 2, 3, and 4. Then we're picking string 3, 2, 2, and back to 3. And we finish this measure on our F chord, picking strings 2, 3, and 4 twice. And next we come to measure 8, the final measure of our solo. This one is a bit difficult because it's a series of faster individual notes, but there are really no tricks to these notes, it's just a matter of learning them. So here's how this sounds at a slow tempo. Next we're moving into our play along. I'm going to play and sing through the entire song, alternating between our fingerpicking and strumming patterns. I'll also play through the solo that comes in after the first chorus. Now you may choose to play through the song using only fingerpicking or only strumming, or you may also want to alternate between patterns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
In the snow-covered hills.
child within my heart, rise above. Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? I don't know. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, children get older, and I'm getting older too. So I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, children get older, and I'm getting older too. I'm getting older too. So take this love, take it down. Oh, if you climb a mountain and you turn around, if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, the landslide will bring it down, down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, maybe the landslide will bring it down. Well, the landslide will bring it down. I hope you've enjoyed two beautiful ways to play Landslide, as well as the fingerstyle solo. Have fun practicing and playing along with me, and thanks for watching.